You might think so sometimes. And information implies intelligence, and we don't like that train of thought. The pink elephant in many biological labs, but I won't say it's in every one, I would suggest to you is we cannot allow design to be considered. But design is the obvious way to understand this. And biologists, when they talk with engineers, begin to realize that there is a totally different way of looking at systems. Now, this next saying is a little bit unkind to some, and I only say it slightly tongue-in-cheek, but somebody has once said, it was von Karman actually, who was a brilliant aerodynamicist, said that scientists can only describe what is there. Engineers actually put something there which was never there before. And he's got a good point. I say it slightly tongue-in-cheek because I'm not trying to suggest that there aren't some very, very brilliant biologists who understand systems engineering. But you take the point, don't you, that actually when an engineer who's used to building things considers the cell, he immediately thinks, this is an example of systems engineering. This is an example of very clever, intricate design. Now, I'm not going to say I proved it. Remember what I said at the beginning. Please remember what I said at the beginning. That I am not saying that I've totally proved my proposition. But what I am seeking to do is to open your mind to the fact that all these elements in the wonders which are now being found in the cell are actually totally consistent with another point of view, which is design. Intelligence, of course, implies a mind, and that's why everybody tries to batten down the hatches in many evolutionary biology labs, say, we mustn't allow the discussion even of this. And I would suggest that's going too far. A university is meant to be a place for open discussion. And it is quite, I would say, a matter of prejudice when people actually won't even allow the possibility that there may be another way of looking at the same facts. After all, didn't Haldane, the very brilliant chemist, say this? If my mental processes are determined solely by the motions of atoms in my brain, I have no reason to suppose that my beliefs are true. And hence I have no reason for supposing that my brain is composed of atoms. Well, that's a very, very clever remark, if you think about it. And he is no friend to the position that I take. Sorry, he's died now many years ago. But do you see the point? Those people in yesteryear were open, even though they didn't agree with my Christian position. They were open to at least discussing it. I think we're making a wrong move today in our universities, where we're not even allowed to discuss the issues. Chesterton, who was always a very witty commentator, said this: take the first more obvious case of materialism. As an example of the world, materialism has a sort of insane simplicity. It has just the quality of a madman's argument. We have at once the sense of it covering everything and the sense of it leaving everything out. Contemplate some able and sincere materialist. We might today think of, obviously, Professor Steve Jones or Professor Atkins from UCL, or maybe Professor Dawkins from Oxford. That would be the sort of people he's referring to. And you will have exactly this unique sensation. He understands everything, he says, and yet everything doesn't seem worth understanding. That's a very perceptive remark. His cosmos may be complete in every rivet and cogwheel, but still his cosmos is smaller than our world. In other words, he's saying, you've understood all the chemistry of the interactions of the nucleotides, but you haven't grasped the concept that information is more than the matter on which it's written. Take this. Remember I said that mathematics is probably the best way to see what's going on, right down at the workings of DNA. The great mathematician fully, almost ruthlessly, exploits the domain of permissible reasoning and skirts the impermissible. That his recklessness does not lead him into a morass of contradictions is a miracle in itself. Certainly it is hard to believe that our reasoning power was brought by Darwin's process of natural selection to the perfection which it seems to possess. Now, if you think about that carefully, what Bickner is saying is that how can the brain, which I am using to reason, has come about by just random processes? It's similar to what Haldane is saying. He's putting it in a different way. That his recklessness does not lead him into a morass of contradiction is a miracle in itself. The mathematics that he creates in order to explain what's going on in the natural world, which is what Wigner did, and it's what many good mathematicians do. They build models of what's going on. And the very fact that they are rational models and understandable is an argument itself that there is something here beyond the matter and the energy and all the other things that they are looking at. Bertrand Russell, who's certainly no friend to the position I take, said this: mathematics rightly viewed possesses not only truth, but supreme beauty. A beauty cold and austere, like that of sculpture, without appeal to any part of our weaker nature, without the gorgeous trappings of painting or music, yet sublimely pure and capable of a stern perfection, such as only the greatest art can show. The true spirit of delight, the exaltation, the sense of being more than man, which is the touchstone of highest excellence, is to be found in mathematics as surely as in poetry. So this is saying that the ability to think and to form rational models of what you're looking at as a scientist is fundamental to science. Where does it come from? Where does my rationality come from? Where does my ability to even think come from? You see, reductionism, which is the idea that we're just chemistry, that's all we are. Professor Dawkins was once asked by one of my friends about what he thought about the meaning of life, and he said, my brain is just a lump of meat. That's what he actually said. Reductionism. We're just matter and energy. We're just molecules. Reductionism fails to grasp that machines are essential to transmit information. I haven't particularly developed that thought tonight, but I did mention the ribosome and many other cellular machines are going on. But reductionism fails to realize that information is non-material. That is the crucial point that I've been stressing. That you cannot define information by the stuff on which it's written. Information uses symbols and patterns which convey a message. The symbols and the message are independent of the carrier. Now, if you say that to